Okay, so welcome back to TeoPro TV, and thanks for joining the Average Golfer for what is a little special edition. We're going to do at least what I consider to be the best game improvement irons of 2017. And for me, it's been a phenomenal year for game improvement irons. Irons full stop, to be honest with you. If you watch my videos on a regular basis, then you'll know my opinion that I think personally that technology has improved massively in irons in this last year, and I've got to say, mightily impressed. It was tough to put a top 5 together, to be honest with you. What I'm going to come up with is very much, obviously, my opinion, and I think this could be the difference between who I consider to be in 5th place and in 1st place is there's very minor detail. It'd be about personal preferences as to why I might position one at number 5 as opposed to number 1, and it'd be very much a vice versa situation for yourself. Now then, down by my feet are the 5 irons, well 4 actually, I've got one of them missing, but 4 of those irons at this top 5 are sitting by my feet, and I am going to reveal one by one, in descending order of course, where I consider them to be. So here we go. 5th place is... Okay, so that's it. It's the TaylorMade M2, and I've got to say, I think that the M2 really sort of epitomises everything that is what you'd consider to be a game improvement iron. It's fairly bulky club, a fairly large top line, but this M2 is absolutely packed with forgiveness. It's extremely powerful and hot in terms of the face. It's extremely strongly lofted as well, because out the lot that we've got in this top 5, this is I've got a 7 iron head, so comparisons in terms of lofts, this is 28.5 degrees this thing will be lofted at, so it's a very, very strongly lofted club. But when I tested it, the launch angle was superb. It got the ball very much up and out there, and it was extremely long, like I say. The negatives I would say about the M2 for me personally was that it still carried those game improvement looks in terms of its bulky head size, and arguably, yeah, the consideration on spin is always this compromise between why you would use a game improvement iron and not forged, but spin number was okay. But for me, really why it's in 5th place and not further up is because, like I said, they maintained their traditional sort of looks in terms of the size. The club head size was the negative that I would give against the M2, but that's 5th place dealt with. Right, who is number 4? So in 4th place, I haven't got the club head with me. It is the HTX Type R from Ben Ross. And I've got to say, I did this test fairly early on in the year, having never hit Ben Ross clubs at all in my life, I'm sorry to say, and I can't help but be impressed. It stuck in the memory all year as to how good of a performer this was, and I went back and looked at the numbers, and it performed very, very well. It definitely deserved its place in this top 5 in 4th position, and it was a great overall performer. I thought the looks of the club was good. The size in terms of the compactness of the head again was sort of a medium build, I would say. Again, sat nice at the dress. It had good sound, which resonates to reasonable feel in this type of club, and the performance was good as well. It was long, still a long club, and again, plenty of help, plenty of forgiveness. So yeah, I've got to say, and also one other consideration you've got to put in, and I never like to, I don't want to put together a top 5 based on price, but you've got to give Ben Ross a mention here in terms of the costings. I mean, these are, I would say, probably 40% lower than some of the irons that are on test here. So yeah, hats off to Ben Ross for producing such a quality club at a real affordable price, and well deserved of their 4th place. Anyway, that's 4th. Let's get into the meaty end of the thing. It's let's see who's in 3rd position. Yeah, it is the Cobra F Max, and tested this one only a matter of weeks ago. And this is where it gets really tough, this top 3, to divide sort of where I put in number 1 and where I put number 3. And again, if I'm being perfectly honest, Cobra irons, I've never been a massive fan. I've just never performed that great with them, to be perfectly honest with you. And once again, when I hit the F Max in the review, I was not expecting a great deal. I was absolutely amazed at the performance of this club. First of all, looks in terms of its finish, I really like the black and gold finish. It's a fairly, again, this is back down to the traditional, what you'd expect from a game improvement iron. I suppose for me, it's where it's going to let itself down ultimately, and why it's placed at number 3 in the size of it, in the bulk of it, and the size of the top line. But let's talk about performance. This club was potentially the best performing club, and I say that based on the overall performance of it in terms of distance, the launch, in terms of what I like in terms of launch angle, ball speed, and the spin number was very, very good for me. Again, you'll know that I struggle to get spin, and spinning these game improvement irons is always going to be an issue anyway, but this performed very, very well in terms of spin as well. So why is it number 3? Well, it's a number 3 simply because of the bulk of the club head. What the top 2 have done is they've managed to get all these build a game improvement iron in a very, very, or a more compact head. So I think that whilst the performance of this is great, it's just been slightly let down. And again, this is for me personally. If the thicker top line is not an issue for you, then it ain't going to be a bother. Get out and try this club. But for me, it's in 3rd place. The only negative I've got is just the size of the club head at address is slightly off-putting for me. Anyway, now we are into the meaty end. 2nd place, here it comes. Who is it? Hey, so this is a tough one. This is really a tough one. You know my opinions. People who watch this or my videos on a regular basis, you know my opinions on the G400. I tested this club, and quite honestly, it nearly ended up in the bag the week later. It's a fantastic club that the Ping have produced here. I was so impressed with it. Let's talk about, first of all, the build of the club in terms of the size of it. It's still got bulk, there's no doubt about it, but it's a very, very compact design. That top line, sort of at the top edge, is sort of beveled slightly, and there's the thin top line has a visual appearance that is slightly thinner than some of the other clubs. It did everything you'd expect from a game improvement iron. So plenty of forgiveness across the face, that's a given. Good ball speed, good distance, reasonable spin. But what I felt with this as well is that the feel out of the G400 was also considerably better than what I'd expect from this type of club. And again, with this sort of rubber dampener in the back, again, whether or not it made differences to feel and sound, I don't know, but it certainly felt different to me. And it really was a massive thumbs up. It kind of felt it was one of those clubs that really, we're always going to have good and bad days, but you felt that this was giving you the kind of help that you needed. It was a great, enjoyable club to hit. And it was the club that, if I'm honest with you, I used the this Mizuno MP5s, and this is the club that came along that started to question my own thought process as to why I'm using what you term a better player iron and not a game improvement iron. And I've still got that quandary right now as I decide what I'm going to play with going forward. But yeah, absolutely superb club, can't knock it. Ping G400 takes number 2, but we all want to know what is at the top of the pile, so here we go. Number 1, the average golfer's choice for the best game improvement iron for 2017 is... So we could have done with a bit of a drum roll there, and yeah, it's a Titleist AP1, which is, funny enough, the last iron that I've tested in terms of all these lot. And I kind of waited for once I've seen these were coming out, and the AP range, or 718 range, I kind of knew that I was really interested to see how these things, if they perform as good as they actually look, because the first thing for me that you've got to discuss about the MP1 as a game improvement iron is its looks. It's by far the most compact head out of the 5. I love it in terms of visuals, and again we always talk about this, it's very much a personal opinion looks, but it appeals to my eye very much. I like a bit of a shiny finish. Titleist you'd always expect, I mean they produce quality product, and this is no doubt that, you know, this is a quality finish on this club. Again, what they've done with this top line is they've done something what I mentioned on the Ping just previously. There's 2 colours to the top line, a slightly beveled off finish, so that there's a satin finish to the very top line. Can you see that? And there's a chrome finish on the beveled side, and what it just does, I think, at address, it thins out visually the top line, so it's probably just as wide as all the rest of them. But what we know with clever design is that it can play tricks with the mind and certainly with the eyes, and I think in this they've done that very, very well indeed. So when it sits at address, it appears to be a very, very small club head, and that's something that again might be a positive, might be a negative for some people. Maybe you like to see a bulky iron at address, but like I said, it's a difficult one, the old top 5 things, because I can only give you my opinion on what I like to see in a club. I'm trying to obviously take in everybody's considerations about what they might want to look for, but ultimately in choosing my top 5, it's got to be something that I kind of believe in. In terms of performance at this club, it was absolutely stunning. First ball I hit just flew out the middle, and yeah, I hit the club fairly well on test, and the good balls that I struck absolutely flew. But then you look at some of that, and this is the sort of mark for decent game improvement iron, I think. It's the balls that you're not hitting out the middle and what happens, and the performance and dispersion was very, very good between good and bad. I like the sound, I like the feel out the club, and like I said, this could possibly end up in my bag, because the other thing is, I mean, I put it in this game improvement category, but seriously, it's sort of a discerning title, I think, game improvement iron, because this could fit in a lot of people's bags, and I think it's a worthy winner. It's a fantastic club, and like I said, could end up in my bag during the season of 2018. We'll wait and see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. As ever, very subjective, these kind of opinions, but I would say there's 5 irons there. If you're in that kind of market and you like these kind of clubs looking to change, try any of those 5 and you won't be disappointed. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. As ever, give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Comments down below. Love to hear your opinions. No doubt plenty of you have tried these clubs by now, so feedback down below. And like I said, as ever, more importantly, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. We've got the best player irons of 2017, and then I've got the best drivers of 2017 in the next few weeks coming along, so keep your eye out for those.